Hi, I'm author Ron Fullerman, and I wrote Facing the Flames, a Ghost Story. It's loosely based on my dad's ship that was sunk in World War II. In this story, 14-year-old Cameron Lund goes with his father and dives on his grandfather's sunken ship. It was sunk in World War II by a suicide sub. He later then finds something as he scuba dives down to the ship, brings it back home, and then finds out that it came with a ghost. Then he has to figure out, with the help of his friends Katie and John, what they have to do to get rid of the ghost, and what the ghost really wanted of him in the first place. Why did he choose Cameron to find that object? Anyway, here's a story, Facing the Flames, a Ghost Story. Chapter 1, November 1944, The Attack. What the? Cameron Lund said as he fell. Before he could finish, he landed on the gray steel deck of the ship. It happened so fast he didn't have time to stop his fall. He had been sleeping in his bunk. His fall had woken him. Who was the wise guy, he wondered. Looking around, he saw other shipmates on the deck, too. Lund scrambled to his feet. What gives? He yelled to nearby sailors. I think the ship's been hit, was the first reply. Maybe an accident up forward, one guy said. Maybe, but that thought was cut off. A second huge blast went off. The whole ship lifted up and then dropped down. At the same time, it rocked left and right. The power to move the 23,000-ton ship like that scared Lund. He grabbed the edge of his bunk to steady himself. Through an open hatch, Lund could see the sky filled with flames. He looked at the hatch that led to the fire room. The fire room was where he worked aboard the ship. The boilers that powered the ship were there. Lund turned to his friend Bowers, who was just getting up. Bowers, gotta get to our battle stations. This is big. Bowers started forward to the engine room hatch. Lund only saw the back of his friend as Lund jumped through the fire room doorway. That was the last time he ever saw Bowers. Outside, hot oil rained down on everyone there. The sounds of the blast echoed off the steel walls of the fire room. Sailors were already in the fire room when Lund got there. Reed and Duffy were at their workstations. Lund went straight to his workstation. He controlled the water going to the boilers. Too much water would flood a boiler. Too little water, and the boiler would overheat and break down. The fire room chief, Smitty, got there just after Lund. Smitty started directing the men. As they worked, more blasts outside increased their worries. Smitty set Duffy up topside to see what was going on with the ship. Almost right away, the blasts increased. The men were there for about 15 minutes. Lund prayed all the more with each explosion he heard. As Lund worked near the hatch, the ship's captain stopped just outside, and the captain yelled into Lund, "Get off the ship, it's going down." Lund didn't have to be told twice. It had been the longest 15 minutes of his life, so far. He yelled over to the men at the boilers. The captain said, "Let it go. It's going down." So the men quickly shut down all of the boilers except one. That one would supply some power to the ship if needed. "Quick, out the starboard hatch," Smitty ordered. But when they opened the hatch on the right side of the ship, thick black smoke poured in. The men could barely breathe. They slammed the hatch shut. Then the men ran over to the port side. This left side hatch looked better. Only a small amount of smoke hovered in the hallway. With the crazy things going on, the chief forgot Duffy. The three men started towards the back of the ship. Suddenly he remembered. "Wait, where's Duffy?" Smitty asked the men. Smitty wasn't sure if Duffy ever came back to the fire room. "Lund, go back and make sure Duffy got out of the fire room." Smitty and Reed started aft. Lund stuck his head in the fire room hatch and yelled for Duffy. Lund didn't know Duffy was told to go up topside. Lund could only see thick black smoke in the fire room from the hatchway. Lund knew it was of no use. Duffy couldn't still be alive if he were down in the fire room. And that thick smoke now made it hard to see in the hallway. From somewhere, Lund heard a guy yell, "You can't go back aft. Fire's setting off the ammo there." Lund turned and said to himself, "Dear God, my mom's going to get word I'm dead." Just as he said this, a man ran through the smoke at the end of the hallway. Lund just barely saw him. "If that guy can make it out that way, maybe I can too." So Lund ran through the smoke, following the other man. He found his way to the lowest deck of the ship. He could see flames around the entire ship. Some of those flames were at least 200 feet high. There was just one slim wedge of water free of flames. He lowered himself over the side and swam out. Just beyond the edge of the flames were boats from nearby ships. One of the boats pulled Lund aboard. From the small rescue boat, Lund could see men still on the sinking ship. Some men jumped into the burning water. He could see some trying to swim under the flames. He said a prayer for them as he helped pull men into the small boat. Still, some died there in the boat. He thought of the men dying inside the ship alone. Their families would never know how they died. Later that day, all the survivors got to a nearby ship. Lund found Reed. They looked for Chief Smitty and for Duffy, but no one had seen them. They and his friend Bowers was never found. It was the saddest day of young Cameron Lund's life. On the ship, officers told the men more of what happened. It was then that Lund heard that 63 men died. It was an enemy suicide sub that hit them. And that's the end of Chapter 1. So thank you very much for listening to Chapter 1 of Faces in the Flames, a Ghost Story by Ron Fogelman. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.